Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Wiz podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to Podium Sports page's own Nate Wren, who will be making his professional debut for boxing in Mexico in a couple of weeks. Nate, what's going on, my man? Can you hear me now?
All right, I only got like 4.5 more pounds. I only got like 4.5 more pounds to lose. So, training experience.
Dang. So, I mean, I want to spin it back a little bit, right? So, how did you get involved? Because, I mean, boxing is like a large, like almost 100% of what you do, whether it be obviously training for your fight or covering the sport for Podium Sports. So, how did you first become aware of boxing and combat sports?
Training years ago. I did it years ago, but I got hurt. Really bad accident that should have killed me easily. Would have killed most people, but it took almost 5 years off. You know what? I just had at some point after all the bad stuff that happened to me that I survived, I just said the hell with it. I got to do it now or it's never going to happen. So kind of just at that point.
No, I mean, if you don't mind me asking, I mean, obviously, I know, but for those who don't know, in terms of the accident, I mean, what exactly happened?
Well, I got hit by. Yeah, it's pretty freaking bad. But yeah, it took a long time. Then during that almost 5 year period, I dealt with a lot of tragedies. I had friends die. I went through a lot of bad stuff. And one of my sponsors who was sponsoring me before told me, Nate, you got to get away from this city. You gotta go to LA, get a bet with me, and thankfully I won, and I'm here today, just 5 years later, just pursuing something that I should have done 5 years ago. But you know how life is; it just shit happens. Back out fight gear was one of the main sponsors that got me back to that, and a lot. I'll be giving sponsor shout outs during the show because I don't want to be getting any crap from my sponsors you didn't mention, because it's another important thing and good to have as sponsors, because it makes all the difference between getting good or great or to that next level.
No, 1,000%, 1,000%. Now, I mean, you talked about going into the big city of LA, right? But you're originally from Bakersfield, right?
Oh, Sacramento. I lived in Bakersfield for a while, but I'm from Sacramento. When people tell me all the time you're from Bakersfield, I'm like, don't you freaking dare. Like, nothing. I don't have anything against Bakersfield. Wink. But, yeah, I don't really care for that place that much. But I have nothing against it. There's wonderful people there, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I mean, it's home of one of your favorite taco spots, if not your favorite taco spot.
Los Loenza Tacos, best tacos in that county. And if you ever want to go there, hit me up, and you got tacos on me, so you're good. But yeah, but I recommend their Al Pastor. They have a lot besides tacos. They like raspados, tortas, burrito, like anything you can think of. They got it there.
That's absolutely brilliant, man. Hopefully, we're waiting for the post-fight meal, and to have that happen in that taco spot, that would be great. So in terms of like getting in, right? Getting into, did you start off training first? Because I know you were, a marathon runner, right? So did
Yeah. Well, it all started like I wrestled in high school, then I coached for years afterwards. I did all sorts of stuff, and I was just always running to cut weight. And it was just like, you know what? They get medals for this crap? It's like, okay. So I just started going longer and challenging myself. And I was just like, it's just a lot of discipline and a lot of determination, just like wrestling. Like, you wouldn't get tired as quickly. And I loved it. And kept me in great shape and kept my weight down was my favorite part. People tell me you can't eat whatever you want. It's like I just ran 20 freaking miles. I think I can eat whatever the hell I want. But it was always fun. I love boxing. I trained MMA too, but I love boxing more. I love the Muay Thai, but I love boxing. Growing up, I'm sure you went to someone's house or at your house, and I'm sure you watched Chavez Sr. fight as a little kid, or Tyson when he bit Holyfield's ear off. I was watching that. My house when I was a kid was the boxing house. Anytime there was a pay-per-view, we didn't care who it was. You see the neighborhood, all the kids, all the pizza, all the tacos, all the barbecue going on at my house. And it was like, so I was in it. I had those memories. So now that I'm meeting all these people and doing, like I did photography for Chavez Jr., I was like, wow, I'm having dinner with Chavez Sr. and Jr. I'm just like, and there's Ernesto Amador right there too, one of my other heroes. Man, that guy, like watching him cover soccer games. And I watched that guy compete in karate. You might not know this, but I call Ernesto Amador Mexico's original karate kid. Like, there are media people in this world you do not fight. I swear to God, if there's a dark alley, and there's one, because if Ernesto Amador is there, you are not winning. Like, I loved it. I loved being there. I love the sport so much. It's just like you meet all sorts of people. That guy he's one of the people I looked up to in media. Chavez Sr., that's shit. That was, as a kid, that made me so proud of my like heritage right there. That guy went in there and dismantled, destroyed, and just downright embarrassed and beat Greg Hagen. When he did that in Mexico, I was never so much prouder in my life to be Hispanic that day. Like, that shit meant something to people. And that's what I love about boxing. Like, in these times of all this like unrest and all this horrible crap in the world, people like NFL, even NFL, and other sports, like that stuff brings people together. Like boxing, it brings so many people in my house. I still, to this day, even though I move far away, like far a hell away, I'll still cover my parents' pay-per-views. Like, they had no problem billing me for that Conor McGregor versus Mayweather circus. I was like, I had no problem, because you know what? The neighborhood went to that house. People need to watch these. There's no electrifying moment like watching a big title fight on pay-per-view. And I'm looking forward to seeing Spence versus Garcia. One of my sparring partners is helping Errol Spence get ready for the Garcia fight. You remember Flavio, that guy you interviewed?
Yeah.
He's in camp with Errol Spence right now, helping him get ready for that big fight. Remember,
Wow.
you got an exclusive with him right before it's just blowing up. That's according to Woods. Like, you don't just come at this guy when he's just there. You're like, nobody knows who he is yet, and boom, you've already interviewed him like 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
You never know.
I thank you for that.
And that's why people are like, do you even train or spar? Yeah, my sparring partner is out there with Errol Spence, just living it up right over there. And the other one I sparred fought in PBC. I definitely do not get the better of them. That's for sure. They're fast. They're some great talented fighters, but I learn stuff and I get better. And it's what it's about. As long as you learn something, you can't really lose. As long as you're learning.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. And Don McGuire of the Fighter's Voice says, "What's up, Nate and Adam? What's up,
All
good
right.
sir?" And Don McGuire is literally holding it down in the Midwest, Kansas City, I believe it is. You
I'm
know,
sure.
covering
I thought he was in
all.
Arizona, but he moved.
Pardon?
I thought he was in Arizona. He moved.
No. I want to say he's. I mean, he'll probably correct me, but I want to say wherever he's somewhere in Missouri. I definitely, and I don't want to out, you know, where he lives
Yeah,
online.
don't give
I
his
want to say
location
that,
and address, Adam.
yeah,
But then again, I'm still betting if someone crazy person shows up, I'm betting on Don. You will not out crazy Don McGuire. Uh, that's like trying to get in a bare knuckle fight with Tyson Fury's dad. It's just not working out. I don't care. Don't show up to Don's house. That could be the last thing you ever see right there.
that's a
Yeah.
perfect analogy. That is absolutely a perfect analogy. Now, I mean, you know, so I mean, you wrestled in high school, right? You wrestled in high school, but I mean, obviously, um, it's different, you know, taking up boxing, right? Like it's a completely different world, you know. So um, what I mean, obviously, you know, to go and be a fan, it's one thing, but to actually train, and especially having experience in a grappling discipline, to kind of go to boxing, what was that
Yeah, it helped me
transition
a
like?
lot in clinch, the wrestling. It helped a lot in clinch situations. That's why I know some bare knuckle. It's like the clinch. That's very important. If you could hold someone and if you're still hitting them and you're not getting hit, I love that position. But it's just I noticed that's what even Cappuccino told me is I'll really get in the clinch at not getting hit and I could still manage to hit him in the ribs. But um Flavio, that guy sparring him and Luke, they're just so incredibly fast and talented. Just when they have you thinking you're doing good, they could knock you out at any given time. Especially Flavio, he's got like that. He is like Danny Garcia, and Luke is just very incredibly fast. You can't even see most of them coming. That's why I get really annoyed because we're covering even those small shows, especially the small shows, the drunks in the crowd yelling, calling the guy who he got put there to bring that other guy's record up, that up and comer, and they're calling the guy with like a losing record a bum. I'm like, yeah, that guy will take you and all your friends with no effort. Like, you have no idea what kind of training they put themselves through. A lot of those guys are working and trying to support a family or a kid on the way, and their boxing is not their full-time thing because it's just they don't have those sponsors, they didn't have those managers or agents, they didn't have those connections. Somewhere at one point they could have been great, but they didn't have that guy in their corner to help them out. That's why I do what I can outside of covering sports. I hook up these up and coming fighters with amazing running shoes, or I've sponsored a couple already, more than a couple fighters. Give them money each month to make sure, hey, this helped out with your phone, or doing stuff, helping meal prep, like pay meal prep, like things like that. You never know. It can really make that little extra help can make the difference. Or making calls to people I know with businesses to, hey, can you sponsor this guy 300 a month or 500 a month or 100 a month or something? Or just sponsor him a couple hundred for a fight. Those little things help a lot. People have
Yeah,
no idea how important that is.
at the end of the day, a little bit goes a long way. And then Don McGuire says he actually moved from Vegas to Springfield, Missouri. So there's that. And in regards to the dirty clinch is righteous. And he has a question for you, Nate. Who would you say put you on the path in this sport?
By the path that you mean got me to go, like that is something I just want to go do. Like I like inspired me. Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah,
Are you wanting to know like people I look up to in the sport too, and mentors to me and stuff like that?
either or, because I think we're going to go into both. So, I mean, whichever you want to do first.
Shoot, my biggest hero, I would say, like the guy that made me just fall in love with boxing was Chavez Sr. Even though I don't try to box like him because he, goddamn, like he fights on the inside. Like he loved to just he could knock someone out, but he loved to just beat the crap out of people. He loved to make them just break. He was, and he's just the nicest guy. But Junior, I love to watch Junior. He was in or out of the ring. That guy is one of the most entertaining and funny guys. The only guy I know in his family that is as funny as him is his cousin and his right hand, Rafa. Like, they're hilarious. That family, I swear to God, they need a reality show. The Kardashians have nothing on them. They are the most entertaining family. When I was with them in Mexico, never a dumb woman. They are just the nicest people. But yeah, Chavez Sr. and some of my biggest heroes in boxing, I'd say Librado Andrade. That guy, shit, win or lose, never a dull moment. One of the bravest men I ever seen fight.
How so?
Fight with Kessler.
Looks like we've stalled a little bit. But if you guys haven't already done so, this is the According to Woods podcast. Oh, there he is. He's coming back.
Oh yeah, Javier Capetillo Sr. He was a big influence in me in my life. He was a great trainer. He's trained many world champions and greats. That guy did so many things for me. It's got me to quit drinking. He helped me out back on the path. That was, oh my God, that was a challenge. If you've seen how far off the rails I was when he got me, it was like, wow. Then he got me back to the point where I'm at today, and he was a good man. I probably wouldn't have been able to do it without him. Ruben Gomez, one of the greatest cutmen of all time, great mentor and friend. And yeah, Librado Andrade was a great mentor and a friend, and he helped me out a lot. And the guy was one of my heroes. And Hervey Estrada, Rodney Ingerson, a blackout fight gear, was one of the biggest ones. He made that bet that started all this to happen, and it was just very like, wow. I was a couple of years ago, like if you were talking to me about 4 years ago, I would never thought I'd be at this point right now. And now then I covered all these major sporting events and started turning everything around. Like, it's kind of insane how far I've come in those few years. And like my team, like Luke, like that guy went from having trouble getting fights to now it's on TV so many times now it's not funny. And Flavio, same way, getting the champ ready for the big. I think that's gonna be fight of the year right there. Like helping Errol Spence make a comeback for a big fight against Danny Garcia. That's gonna. I think it's gonna be a barn burner, honestly. If someone's getting knocked out, it's not till like the 10th or the 11th round, if that even happens. I think it'll go the distance, personally. But yeah, I had a lot of people in there helping me. Like sometimes it takes a village to get someone on the path, and it's been interesting. Like, and I thank my sponsors too, because I couldn't done it without them. Lopez Diesel Repair, Cacheton Hot Dogs, Latino Lunch Tacos, Blackout Fight Gear. Oh man, I swear I'm gonna end up forgetting one of them, and I'm gonna get a call with someone being really, really angry at me after this. Oh, Thomas and Sons, air conditioning and heat, like they in Sacramento area, they're really good. Wow, Ileana's Tamales in East Los. I swear to God, if I forgot that, would have been a bad one. One of my favorite places to eat in LA. Only time definitely amazing tamales. You ate. I took you there one time.
Yes, absolutely. I can attest. One of the greatest tamale offerings in all of LA.
Yeah, they take them very seriously over there. Yeah, I still feel like I'm forgetting somebody, and it's gonna just come back to bite me. I'm thinking I'll mention them later in the show because I don't want to get in trouble.
No harm, no foul. Which Don McGuire wants to say, ask one last question. What are your thoughts on the new prodigy, Victor Morales Jr.?
As a boxer, he's damn great boxer to watch. He's gonna do a lot in the world of boxing. He's hilarious. Like like he'll get me laughing on things he does outside the ring because he's just funny. Like I swear, like if him and Chavez Jr. and had like a reality show, I swear Ryan Garcia would just be like, "Are they stealing my followers? Like, what is going on right now?" Like, he's just very funny. He's real cool. I've talked to him a few times. I think he'll be a champ. He'll challenge for a title one day soon. But I really think that, and I love watching him fight.
That's pretty brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Now, I mean, it's crazy because obviously we kind of glossed over it, but I mean, you had a crazy crash, right? And Don McGuire says he's sponsored him for the last year and a half.
Yeah, that you definitely made a wise investment. The kid's going places, Tom. So that's a really good thing. You see, one sponsor, no matter how big or small, like a lot of these people don't get how hard it is to get a sponsor. You gotta win. It's not just the judges. It's like you gotta take and win someone over and get them to go, I want to give this kid money. And it is very hard because that's why I watch what I say on Facebook, because you do not know who is watching. I don't get political. I don't get into any of that because one time I had an opinion. I think this was after, it was so long ago, Obama was still president. It had nothing to do with him. That's how long ago it was, and I lost a $500 a month sponsor because I had a very neutral opinion on something that wasn't even about the president. Could have been about our governor at the time who was getting recalled or something. I don't remember, but I remember losing that sponsor, and I never got him back, and boy, that was stupid. So I always watch what I say, and I'm very professional on or off the clock. And I've seen, we've been to shows where we see that company's main person just being very entertaining, doing things that make you go, did they just do that in front of like people from the commission or just people in general? They just did that in front of a place where there was a lot of people watching, because what you do reflects up on your brand and your promotion or whoever you're working for, your employer. And it's like, that's why you always see me wearing a suit and sunglasses. And I think people really know me for my smile, Adam. I really do. Yeah.
There might be a rib there. It's and in regards to Victor Morales, he said saw him in Oregon, and the rest is history.
Yeah,
and in terms of your experiences, Don McGuire's lived that for the last 25 years. One of the OGs in terms of combat sports coverage. So, a shout out to Don McGuire. He's tremendous.
Yeah, one of the craziest people in combat sports, and coming from me, that says a lot because I'm just like the model of insanity. Like, and you say those experiences, it's like, you grow up watching these people and you grow up idolizing them. Next thing you know, they're in your contacts list and you're hanging out with them. Like one of my other heroes, I did not get to mention, and I feel like a jerk for not mentioning him because this guy is like the biggest heart in the world and like one of the most genuinely nice people you'll ever meet in your life. Rikishi.
Really?
Yes, I grew up watching him on TV because I loved Lucha Libre, and I loved watching because, there were luchadors in WWE and WCW, and I loved Lucha Libre more. But watching that guy and his size move around, like, he was so agile and graceful. I'm like, damn, like he had to play football or rugby. And it turns out he was a badass rugby player and basketball player. So was Yokozuna, is what he's mentioned many times. But it amazed me, like, how he moved around, and he was just entertaining, like how he could dance and how funny he was. Like, someone needs to give him his own show, like that Big Show had. That got canceled way too soon. Netflix needs to give these shows a chance. I'm happy they still got Cobra Kai, but back on top. But he's just one of the nicest people I ever met. And I'm happy. He's like a big brother figure to me. Him and Rodney and from Blackout, they did a lot. And it's very rare you find genuine people in combat sports. And it's very like, wow, like hard to describe because so many people, especially in media, I'm sure you've dealt with this a million times. Someone that would try to sabotage you if they thought it would help them on some level, or cause something with you and a promoter or a PR person. And it's sad. Like, wow, there's more than enough room for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had opportunities where I could have easily just thrown someone under a bus and done. But you know what? I don't do stuff like that. I'm professional at everything I do. I carry myself to higher standards, and it's very rare in sports these days. Even in general, it's like people lack ethics and morals sometimes. That's why, like, I believe it or not, I do a lot for charity outside of boxing, because you never know. Just those little things you could do during the day that might brighten or change someone's life, or make their year, or holidays, or day. You don't know how that could affect somebody. That's why every year I go. You've seen me. Last year I was like the Grinch. And I got JC Yamis to come, and we saved Christmas for a lot of underprivileged children who are workers. They couldn't afford gifts, and your parents are out there working in the fields, doing what they can to support the family, and they barely have enough for food and rent. So they can't buy gifts. So I got other people. I got one of the pirates from Pirates of the Caribbean to help too. Vince Lozano. Yeah, I got him to help out, and I got Rod and some other people to help out gifts, and I got over a little over 200 gifts. They weren't cheap gifts. Like the cheapest gift we got was like $20, but
wow,
we wanted to show these kids people care. Like you see these poor kids that don't have much, and they go like, wow, like no one's gonna put a gift under our tree. Then Christmas comes and they see this crazy dude dressed up as the Grinch giving them gifts and making them laugh and doing the Jim Carrey as the Grinch voice, and just acting like Tony, it was more like Tony Clifton from Man on the Moon when he was doing these voices and making the kids laugh. And you got this badass bare knuckle brawler JC Yamis signing autographs and taking pictures. He was giving passes away at his gym for like, I think it was like 2 weeks or something, and it was good. Like we always like to give back to the community, and that's another guy that helped me out a lot. Like Spine, that guy was like the Matrix. I don't know how many punches I threw just to land one or two on him. It's so, I can't even explain it. It's like watching Lomachenko. He just moves, and he could hit you at all these angles while you're missing, and it's so frustrating. As far as
like butter, smooth like butter.
A lot of people like Art Santor. That's an original. Have you ever heard of Art Pachuco Santor? He fought Hector Lombard. He had like 5 MMA world titles in his promotions. That guy was a legend. Being 140 pounds, sparring him while he was 230, getting beat by him. I had good days against him, but I had a lot of bad ones. Mitchell Sipe was there when I was there. I sparred him a few times. He was, that guy could knock someone out with a jab. He was incredibly strong, and he just had his pro boxing debut on Top Rank. That's someone you should interview right there. Damn great boxer, and very, very underrated wrestler. He was a great MMA fighter. I always love to watch him fight. He was a Tachi Palace champ.
Yes, he is.
There was a lot of different people that got sparring. I learned a lot, and I'm fortunate to always have good people around me, and that's why I like Capetillos. Great people, and it's always interesting. So going back to those kids and all that, we do that because you never know. It could really turn someone's life around. It could be something they think about and do someday when they do good. You never know. Hopefully something we do, because a lot of these fighters are and media people like are role models. Like I laughed when I was at Chavez's camp, and even Capetillo's Jorge Capetillo, good friend of mine, his son was laughing because his son's ranked number 2 in the world as an amateur. And so I'm taking pictures for Chavez Jr. and they're a group of like fans like that were hanging outside the gym. Hey, could I take a picture with you? And I'm like thinking with me, and I was like, oh, you want me to take a picture with your fans? So I go take a picture of them, and they're like, no, I want a picture with you. I'm like, okay. And Capetillo, and he's just laughing so hard. It was just so funny. Dylan Capetillo is just like, why do they like why like? And Javier Capetillo Jr. is just like kind of laughing. He's like, what, they think you were Gennady Golovkin or something? I was laughing too. I was like, maybe he had a growth spurt over something. I don't know, but I was just laughing so hard. Like we're always joking. Like another one of my friends, like Luke, was like, no, Javier, they didn't think he was Golovkin. I guess they thought he was Elon Musk. And I just started laughing, and I was just like, it's just funny, but people really love that, and kids are very impressionable, and it's like, that's why I always told myself to higher standards. And yeah, it's crazy how far I come. I used to be the party animal. I didn't care if I was at an event. Now I'm very living that Lone Ranger like motto. It's just censoring myself. Crap, I probably would have dropped 100 F-bombs by like the first 10 minutes of this show. You'd be having someone be like, Adam, you just lost a sponsor today thanks to El Diablo Blanco over there. It's a nickname I got given years ago. It's funny when you go to a Catholic church that's all Hispanic and they call you El Diablo Blanco, and people who don't know why are just going like, does he know what they're saying about him right now? Like, he just saved their Christmas and they're calling him El Diablo Blanco. Like, he's the nicest and probably like one of the, like, they don't know why they don't get it, but it's hilarious. Like, I've done all sorts of funny stuff. Like, but yeah, that's why we do what we do, because like that's why I like JC and Blackout and Rod and Ricky and Sheen Captive. They're doing a toy drive on December 19th in East LA at their gym, and I'm gonna be passing out gifts, and a lot of Fernando Vargas signed some gloves they're gonna raffle away. So if you donate a gift, you get two free tacos and something else, and you get a raffle ticket. And I think Leo Santa Cruz might have signed some gloves, and I think Errol Spence was, from what Flavio told me too, is signing some gloves. So you can win signed gloves, and Errol Spence is a tough one to get in Santa Cruz, and for now Vargas is a hard one to get you to sign anything. But they're all very nice guys, and Fernando is one of the most humble and funny, and Spence is cool, and so Santa Cruz, but Fernando Vargas is freaking hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, he's the funniest guy. Don't ever badmouth pineapple on pizza in front of him. Don't ever. I never do. He loves Hawaiian pizza and he loves pineapple, and if you say anything to him, he just will not have it. But he's the nicest guy. Yeah, I love this sport because it brings people together and it's enjoyable. Like, anytime a boxing match is on, I don't care if it's Box Azteca Mexico on Azteca 42, I am watching it. I don't care if it is Nicaragua or Colombia or Thailand. I am watching that fight, or the Philippines. I don't care where it's being streamed from on the internet or on TV. I will sync it to my TV and I am watching.
It's magnetic, which, I mean, you're kind of magnetic. And Doppelganger says, Nate Wren, about as many people as me, brother. So,
I don't know. A lot of people I know that people don't know I know. And I've had these funny things where people try to call me out on that. And I'm like, okay. Boom, boom, pull out the pictures. And they're like, I hate you so much. And they're like, you don't really know him. And I was like, okay, I'll make a call. And I'll call my friend at a interesting hour. And they're like, Nate, who called you out on it this time? Like, it's like I've called Rikishi many times. He's like, Nate, don't get me wrong, I love doing it, but stop. One of my favorite people I've met that was just hilarious and fun to hang out with was the Tonga Kid. Was a good one. He's Rikishi's older brother. He's the funniest guy. Partying with him, that guy was so much fun. But Rikishi, that guy, man, I couldn't imagine. I'm amazed he didn't get the WWE title, but he did win the world tag titles a couple of times. He's Intercontinental champ. I think TNA should have gave him a world title over there. That would have been something. He was one of the best performers I'd ever seen. One of the most genuinely humble people. He granted. This is what I did in media. I knew this kid in Bakersfield was dying. This was years ago. This was in 2017, and I remember he came out during their homecoming at his high school, and he told everybody he had terminal cancer. And it was one of the most sad days ever. And I remember watching that kid, and he kind of had a lot of trouble getting to do a lot of things he wanted to experience because, cancer is expensive to treat, and they didn't have much. So I made as much of his last days as I could. And you know what? I found out he was a diehard wrestling fan, so I contacted Rikishi. And there were a lot of promoters I contacted besides him because he was a diehard wrestling fan. And you remember, this was in the last days of the Dome before they tore it down, sadly.
Yeah, the Bakersfield Dome, yeah.
I contacted promoters from other areas outside the county to, hey, can I get this kid some free ticket? You know how that goes. You ask a promoter for something for free. You know how that's going to go. Rikishi, being the nicest man he is, being an amazing person he is, gives the kid, not just him and his mom, he hooks the whole kid's family up with ringside seats, and he took the time before, after, and during, because he was in a 6-man tag match. When he wasn't in the mat, he stepped down those little steps, and he was chatting with the kid. He's like, be back in a minute, bro. Goes in there. He does that bonsai drop on the guy, gets the pin. Everyone wins. Everyone's happy. The kid had trouble even, he was so weak from the chemo, he couldn't stand. But you know what he did? He stood up. He was holding himself up with his arms in that chair. He didn't sit down the entire match. That kid was just I never seen anybody that happy. And it's crazy. That kid 11 days later died. But you know what? Up until that point, he kept talking about how that was one of the greatest experiences he ever had. Was watching that man wrestle. And that's what I love about these athletes. What you do for these people, it inspires them. And it's we're just doing sports. I had people during my long run say I inspired them in doing this, and I'm just no, I'm just an idiot who just ran. It's you beat cancer. You inspire me. I tell people, no, you're the one doing something. I'm just competing in a sport. And that's how Rikishi is. He's just so humble. He's one of those every guys. And that's why I like Lebrado Andrade too. Very humble guy. And Capetillo Sr., funniest dude you'll ever meet. I swear, I made a joke. I told them, I'm going to use your likeness. I'm going to get a doll. And every time you press the button on the doll, he's going to say something funny. Because even when he was swearing at me in Spanish, when I'd piss him off, that guy called me on everything. When he was getting me to quit drinking and I'd come in training, I'd be smelling like tequila or vodka, and he'd be like, "Pinche güero, estás tomando otra vez?" And he'd be amazed because he'd go see me just run and do all this stuff, and he's like, "That guy smells like one of the bars in Chihuahua." And he just went that far. How is he just sweating it all out? You could smell in the sweat, and it's but they're just humble people, and that's why I like being around that guy. A lot of these athletes get these unjustified raps. One of my favorites was you never think of this. Erin Tohill, she was just one of the nicest athletes ever. Nicest, fun-loving people. Coolest person. One of the coolest people I've ever had the joy of knowing. freaking Labrado, Andrade, Rikishi. Alfonso Gomez, one of the funniest. Hervey Estrada, I just love that guy to death. I would jump in front of a bullet for that guy. Luke Samaria, you got to keep an eye on that kid. He's not in a bad way, but he's going to go places very soon. JC Yamas is one of the most humble people. He was a great trainer. Dan Camarillo is one of the most entertaining, great jiu-jitsu people I've ever had the joy of meeting. Yeah. JC's a great bare knuckle brawler. Shannon Rich, even though I joke, you could ask Shannon, I'm one of the craziest people you ever meet. I told a fan one time because he said something about Shannon Rich. He said something very stupid, and I was like, you know what? You wouldn't have the stones to go up to Shannon and say that. And he's all like, you would? I was like, you want to bet? Bet the guy $100. I go up this close to Shannon's face, and I just take off my glasses, and I'm looking at Shannon's eyes, and Shannon just had the stare in his eyes, and he just looked at me, and people were like thinking Nate's about to get punched in the face by Shannon Rich, and he just started busting out laughing. It was one of the funny. It was when he fought in Gladiator Town. Funniest things you ever see. Good friend, great friend, yeah. And a lot of his losses were, premature stoppages. That's why I hate about refs sometimes. Like, let him fight. It's things like in boxing or wrestling, any sports, like stopping it too early, like you kind of killed the vibe. Like it was a magical fight. And Shannon was beating this guy nobody thought he could beat. Like I told Shannon, you want to surprise this guy? Run forward. Everybody he fights, lay back. Ben rushes him and he knocks him out. Shannon, 43, he's like 60 pounds smaller than the guy. Rushes. That buzzard went off. Shannon was already halfway across the cage before that guy even pushed off of it. I was like, Shannon deceptively fast. So when he went and fought in Mexico, I was like telling that guy who I knew, do not underestimate Shannon Rich. He'll be the biggest mistake of your life. And did. We all know what happened next. 27 seconds, Shannon Rich was just straight, just knockout. I don't think that guy punched Shannon in the face once. I think he punched Shannon's hand. I think and Shannon just smiled him. It's like watching the Great White Hype in reverse. But yeah, he was like grim. He was like the Reaper, Shannon, that day. But he was like James the Reaper Roper, and this guy, this challenger from Mexico with a good record, just worst day of his life. And he's a friend of mine, and I always bring it up. I'm like, we always joke. It's like, I know I wouldn't beat Shannon Rich. I know that. I'm never telling him that, though. He's probably watching this right now, laughing his ass off. But I tell him, like, I told my friend, hey, I'd still do better than you did, Rocky. He's like, probably, you jerk. But
you gotta get your wins in somehow, right? Like,
yeah,
you gotta get them.
We always laugh, and it's our sense of humor. Yeah, Shannon Rich was one of my favorite MMA fighters. Ken Shamrock, the nicest guy you will ever meet, one of the most humble, down to. Even though you see his character, you wouldn't think that he'd be like, this guy's a cocky jerk. No, he's one of the nicest people. Carlos Famoso Hernandez, Danilo Red Lopez was one of my favorites. Chris Van Heerden, one of the most inspirational fighters. I don't care what time of day or night it is. I've seen him fight too. Never a dull moment when that guy's in the ring. He needs to get a fight. He was a world champion, but he fought Spence. He had a hell of a fight with Spence. He destroyed Matthew Hatton for the IBO world title. He had a lot of great fights, and he came from behind against an previously unbeaten Russian who was just destroying people. He came back, bad cut, blood everywhere, and thankfully he had the great Ruben Gomez in his corner and got the bleeding to stop. Come back, rallied back, and stopped the Russian. And that
Mouse Strauss.
Yeah,
It was Mouse Strauss.
Yeah, it was an amazing fighter. Never a dull moment. The guy's very inspirational. Following him, shoot, no matter how bad you feel that day, like that guy's been through some stuff. And just the things he says, he comes up with his own original quotes. It's like, shit, if anybody should be an inspirational speaker after boxing or darning, it is that guy. Capetillo Sr., that was his superpower. No matter how bad I would be screwing up, one time he flat out told me, Nate, like his son, his heart's always in the right place. You've seen me, I've burned him in the gym. I've just roasted him
Yes.
and Flavio, especially Flavio, because we're very comedic. But his son tried to give me a speech, and he said, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, "Are you gonna go train?" I was like, "No, I'm gonna go to the bar next door. I'm gonna go get some drinks." And I was like, and he's all like, "Whoa." His dad the next day, he's like, "Nate," he's all, "You're effing up." That is all he said to me. You know what? I thought about it all night. I slept for about 2.5 hours. I woke up the next morning. I ran 20 miles, and I just focused on training, and I didn't let up. I just focused on boxing after that. I haven't even been running as much as I used to, and it's like he changed my whole life. He could few words like Jorge Captil, another one of the most inspirational people ever. Like genuinely nice. Like he's the one of the premier cut man in the sport. You saw what he did for Tyson Fury. He saved the fight. Like a lot of people, Fury had a good night, but they joke about how Jorge Capetillo had an even better night because, like, wow, that just showed people, like, yeah, I'm here. I belong here.
Yeah.
He's worked with the who's who of boxing, but he's one of the nicest guys ever. Yeah, that's why I just love the Capital family. You won't find a nicer and more humble family in boxing than those people. It's like to think I've been there for the last couple of years training with them. They're just like, I came up with Hector Camacho Jr., another crazy guy, and how that even happened was, oh my God, it's just nuts. You never know how one day or one interview or one moment can change your entire life. It's like, I used to watch them on TV. Now I'm hanging out or partying with them, or shoot, now I'm friends with them and I can't get them to stop calling me at random hours. It's like I had many, like, many women I dated. They're all, "Who's that? Who's calling you at this hour?" Hector Camacho Jr. And they're all, "Yeah, right." Speaker, "Is that Hector Camacho Jr.?" "Yeah." "Oh, was that Ricky?" "Yeah." Or my favorite one was that Librado Andrade. That guy was the funniest guy ever. Nicest guy in the world. Very serious. Like you know how I do stare downs with fighters, like for just jokes?
Yeah.
Like, don't ever get a stare down with Librado Andrade. You will not win. I still tell him I won that one. He admitted defeat to that one, but it's just very, very hilarious. Like I've had so many funny ones. Fernando Vargas was a hilarious one. Alfonso Gomez, always entertaining. Damn. Funniest people I've probably met. Believe it or not, Adrian Broner is actually the nicest guy. I was amazed by that. Yes, he was very humble, very articulate. We talked for about like half an hour. I loved Freddie Roach. I've many hours talking to that guy. He's pacing back and forth on his backstage at Thurman versus Porter, and we talked for like about an hour. Me and Capetillo Jr.'s second, Eric Rodriguez, was there with me, and we're just chatting him up. Sean Gibbons, that's another person I look up to, greatest matchmaker in the world. That guy and manager. He's done so much for boxing. I'll tell you one thing. Even though I don't really care much for what our president, I will say one thing though. He's done so much for boxing, it amazes the hell out of me. Like those Tyson fights. Like, I'll give him credit for that all day long. That's the only reason I like. He's very entertaining, and he helped make some of boxing's fights. But as our president, I don't care. But boxing promoter and entertainer, he is damn entertaining to watch, and he is help boxing. That is the only thing I'll ever give that guy credit for. You're best friends with Don King. You did something in boxing.
Yeah, you did something for sure. Which I got it. Yeah, and Donald Rice says in terms of people he knows, Sakuraba was the crazy experience for him. So, man, that's one of I can literally have like a little keychain of Sakuraba. That dude is one of my
Yeah,
Favorite
it's a
fighter.
great one. And shoot, MMA wise, I'd say another one for me was Don Fry against Severn. Like Don Fry, I kid you not. I was hanging out with Don Fry one time. We're at a place where there's, the fire sprinklers, right? He's got the Teddy Roosevelt like cowboy hat. He's got a giant cigar in his mouth, and we're in a place that says signs no smoking, and there's cops around us. And he's drinking in public with the red cup, and I took, of course, me being me, I was drinking with them at the time, young, and me, I was young, having fun. Nobody said anything to us. I was like, dude, I was like, are you sure cops aren't going to say anything to me? No.
No.
Nicest guy. I was like, I dare anybody to go up to Don Fry and tell him put that out right now. I dare you. Yeah, there was just so many. Soko Judo was one of the most funny, nice guy. He was he used to spar with Santor, and I joked about the one time I caught Santor coming in, and he saw, did you enjoy it? I was like, every second of it. He's all, I loved punching Arthur in the face. Like, we were joking, and Art's like right there, like, ha ha. But Art Santor was one of the nicest guys ever. I loved training with him. I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot with JC, working out with him and training with him. He was really cool. That's what I loved. You meet so many cool people, but at the same time, you meet a lot of people that would just love to just do whatever to you if they thought it would help them in a second. I could imagine what people would do for some of the opportunities I've got. That's why people don't really like us, is like, people probably, I could see people not liking me because I am blunt. I've told people, they ask me, and if you ask me, I'm truthful. And it's like, I told you, if you ask me a question, expect the truth at all times. You might not like the answers, or you might be blown away and go, what the hell? People ask me, because when I'm at those shows, I'm very serious, and I don't really talk very much at those shows. And it's like, what are you like? I was like, describing it is, it's insane. It's like, can you imagine Danny Tanner when he's not, the cameras aren't rolling, and he's telling
Right, exactly.
He's telling a stand-up set routine, and there's kids are like, you just couldn't imagine me without being just quiet in the suit, just being all serious. Like, people are like, are you Russian? They're all, I think Nate's Russian. They're all, why? Because it's illegal to smile over there. He might get shot if he smiles. So it's like, just maybe. And I'll say a lot of exciting.
Which Don says, I'm as blunt as they come,
Oh, I know Don McGuire won't BS you either. We don't sugarcoat crap. Like, I'm sure me and him, if you put us in a room with a bunch of aspiring, a lot of these media people, I'm amused. They act like they're God. Some of them act like they're some God's gift to the world, and they're doing big things when they've just covered a few local shows. If you went up to me and Don and you came in with that attitude, you're going to get checked really quickly.
Yeah.
When you ask us what you think of our work, if they ask us that, it's like, really? That was a big show. Like, they called me up. I didn't send in for credentials. They called me to show up. Like, you remember that one championship where you had to go early?
Yeah.
And they weren't letting people in. I came in, like 45 minutes late, sunglasses on, not caring. I got one of my friends who was a photographer was out there, and I saw him waiting in line, and I was like, did you bring your photographer? And I'm like, oh crap, I didn't know I was supposed to bring. Yeah, he's outside. So I see him because he's signaling me from, you remember, outside. I was like, I'll go get him. They're okay, just I'm checking with you. I was like, yeah. So he didn't have his camera. I'm like, what the hell? But the guy next to him, who he knew he's friends with, I was like, you're a photographer? He's like, yeah. You want to make some money? Yeah. He didn't even want to charge me. It's like I get to shoot Rich Franklin and
Misha Tate.
They walk by people to do an interview with us. There was guys like, they're waiting. You were there. They were waiting and these guys came up to me and they were like, why did they just walk by us to you? I was like, oh, well, because they actually like me. Just deadpan delivery, and they're just like, I heard them when they walked. While I was walking away, they're all prick, and I turned around. I was like, I heard them, and they're just like, like, yeah, like, what are you gonna?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Like,
Which, speaking of questions, right? Don McGuire wants to know thoughts on Blake McKiernan's fight tomorrow.
I like Blake. I known him for a while. He's in Sacramento. He's living out there when I was out there, and he was the nicest guy. One time in this gym, I seen this kid. He was being bullied by these, pro fighters who weren't the greatest. And you know what Blake did? He went over there and he took this guy who was the instructor at the gym. He's like, "Hey, bro, want to spar?" He's like, "Yeah, I get a spar at the gym." Blake knocked him through the ropes. Never saw that instructor do that kind of crap again. Like, Blake's a nice guy. I hope nothing but the best for him. And yeah, that's definitely the fight of his life. So, Badu Jab.
Do you have a prediction?
Oh, I don't like to make predictions because he's a very nice guy, but Blake McKernan's gonna put up a hell of a fight. I see an exciting fight. I can't say for sure because you never know what's gonna happen in boxing. Like, I'll give you a perfect example: Spinks versus Tyson. Before the fight, you could find a million people that said Tyson would knock his block off, which he did, and you could find just as many people before the fight that said he was too technical, he was too smart, he was too much for Tyson. And boy, were they wrong. But again, you never know. Look, Andy Ruiz fighting Joshua. I knew a guy that made over 40 freaking grand betting a couple on Ruiz. And it's like, for every 1,000 you were betting, you were looking to win 12.5 on him, which was nuts. And people won. I was just like, I was so mad that I didn't bet. I was wanting to because I really didn't care for Joshua. I was just that guy that was always rooting against him. But he's a great boxer and nice guy. I had nothing against Joshua. I just didn't like to watch him fight. I thought Glitchko had him. I thought he had him. And if it was a younger Glitchko, I don't think it would have went Joshua's way.
No, but it's those kind of seismic changes of the guard that makes combat sports all the more interesting. Which you have a little bit of breaking news because in a couple weeks you might have joined the ranks of Spencer Lazar from MMA Interviews, or Cage Titans' own CEO Lex McMahon, right, who competed in his debut MMA fight at 49 years old. So you, as somebody who covers the sport, you will be stepping into the ring very soon. So talk to us about it.
Still cutting weight. I still got like 4.5 to lose. Right? Like, I'm very strict, like hard on myself. I think I'm my own worst critic. Like, people think I'm like a bigger a-hole than, like, we're in the process. Like, when I'm writing or doing photography, like, I'm not gonna lie, I used to drink. That was part of my process. It's like, I remember the early days when I'd be knocking back so many at these shows, and they're like, "God damn, the guy looks like he can barely walk. Like he can really write." And I gave my friend my notebook, and he's reading, and he's like, "Holy crap, this guy's like a drunk Rain Man with a pen." It's like, wow. Like I once wrote this article on the Valderas brothers. Carlos, the one that beat out Teofimo Lopez for the Olympic team spot, which he was a great fighter. He's still a great pro. They're very humble family. I love them to death. I made a lot of people, even people who hated me that read that, were applauding me. I made people cry with it. And it's like, wow. And now I'm doing photography, which I never thought I would do in a million years. How that happened would make you absolutely laugh. Yeah. But that was all learning experience going in, because it's like, how long you have that camera for? About quite a while now. And I'm like thinking, 2 days? And I'm covering my first big televised fight. How that even happened was, but I got great at it. But yeah, I love the training. Is some of the hardest stuff I went through. Like, that's why wrestling prepared me for that psychologically. It's like, you could be taking the worst beating of your life, but all it takes is one good move, one good second. You could change your entire match or your fight. Yeah, I sparred the other day. I sparred this light heavyweight who he held the GBU light heavyweight belt. He ended up putting his opponent. It was the only televised fight that Red Boxing had in 2018. He takes on this Hollywood guy was a giant, like this bailiff on some famous court TV show. He broke that guy's ribs. He went like Chavez Sr. He was holding him up just to keep him just beating on him because that's what happens when you talk trash at the weigh-ins. Like, so I tell people like, I jokingly say I'm just gonna smile and I wish him luck. And they're like, Nate, when the hell do you ever smile? Good point. Like, I know you have to be like a very rare breed to get me to smile. Like, you have to be hilarious, or like there's jokes like about you have to be like with the women. They're like my friends are like she has to be super hot and hilarious, or like he's not gonna smile. And there's like, or there's only like one lady who ever got me to smile. I'm not gonna drop that name. Great, but it is very rare to get me to smile. Like, nicest person ever though, but you can't really get me to smile. I've pissed off a photographer because I was doing a photo shoot in Capitol. They were doing something, and he's all smile, and I'm like, the looks I gave him were just like this Robert De Niro look, just pissed off at the world. Like, it was just funny. I do not like smile. I was like Gennady Golovkin at the wedding. I just had that look in my eyes. Like, I had that Gennady Golovkin look of murderous intent in my eyes. Like right before things hit the fan for Murray or Stevens or a lot of the guys he's just knocked out. I rarely smile, but I love boxing because it's just made me, like, through life when stuff gets really bad, you just gotta bite down on that mouthpiece and come forward. Like, I was sparring that light heavyweight, and he had like a truck, and I just kept throwing. I won 6 rounds with him. I feel he got the better of me because he's a great boxer. Honestly, his son is 16-1. Angel Ruiz. You should interview that kid. You should do that. He's a great kid. He's 16-1, and he's tough as they come. But
you know me, I'm always down. I'm almost there. And Don McGuire says, much respect, Adam. Thank you, sir, and much respect to you, good brother. I'm proud of where you're going. I appreciate that. Wren, I'm humbled for the kind words with a few of the future legends, hopefully, and 2 Hall of Fame inductees and Emmy if I leave the future to you. Tremendous young man. Thank you, good sir. Appreciate you, good brother.
I don't know if they'd have an Emmy award for me because they'd have to invent like a whole new division for me. It'd be like craziest lead actor or just most like.
It could happen. This, and he's also said that's my gig. I never smile, which is, we've got him and Joe Martinez like in the picture, and he is absolutely.
It got so bad. There were actually some promoters I know that were offering little rewards like $100, $200. Anybody get a picture of Nate smiling, you send that to me, I'll give you like $200. And you know what? One guy, Nico Macias' dad, he joked about this. He saw I got Nate one time. He snapped it. He's me. I had hot girls around me. He was drinking. You think, oh, Nate's gonna be smiling. He snaps the picture. And he saw, I look at the picture and you look stone-faced like Lurch or like a British Royal Guard. You just had that Lurch Adams or British Guard look on your face, just blank. And it was just like you had the sunglasses on, no expression at all. It's like deadpan. Oh, man. It was nearly impossible. But, yeah, it's mission impossible, get Nate to smile.
Well, Don McGuire says, I never smiled and got an Emmy. So, there you go. Maybe I'll never get it after because I smile too much, but I digress.
Oh yeah, I know you mean. Like, remember that award show I got 2 awards at? I grabbed the medals and I left them on the stupid, the little podium, and I walked away. And we're just like, what I'm not gonna swear because I promised myself.
No, you can swear. You can do that.
Yeah, but my sponsors would be really mad at me. because they're trying to get me away from all that. But yeah, I swear they're all like, "Who do you describe yourself as?" I told them I make Ricardo Mayorga look like Mr. Rogers sometimes with how much I can swear.
Ooh.
I really, I was just like every other sentence, but it's amazing how I have not sworn this, and I've not sworn this entire interview, which is beyond me. But I'm just very, it's different direction. But yeah, it's been a challenge. I've been training my ass off for this fight. Yeah. Oh, I don't think that word counted as a swear. Whatever. I don't really care.
There you go.
They don't deduct anything from what they're giving me. I'm happy. But
there you go.
Yeah.
Which I got to ask you, man. I mean, obviously, this has been a long road for you, a long road to recovery in many, not just in life, but the injury that you sustained. So let's get some shout outs out of the way, my man.
Blackout Fight Gear, Podium Sports, Las Sinaloenses Tacos, Tamales Ileanas in East LA. Definitely the best tamales. And if you love tacos, go to Los Sinaloenses Tacos. If you're in Kern County, El Cacheton hot dogs, home of the bacon and carne asada hot dogs. You get anything you want. I'm loaded. Home of the 3,000 calorie hot dog. I ate 2 of those in one sitting one time after one of my ultras. Yeah, I won't do that now because again, metabolism's not the same, and I still want to run that far. Lopez Diesel Repair, TW Tractor Repair, Thomas and Sons Air Conditioning in Sacramento, owned by Jimmy Thomas. He was, believe it or not, damn good MMA fighter. He boxed too. He's a good amateur boxer. Capetillo Boxing for helping me out. Yeah, Javier Capetillo, Librado Andrade, Hervey Estrada, Ruben Gomez, Art Santor, JC Yamas. Wow, I've learned so much from so many people. I could go. Name them. I don't know. I think someone tried to send me a message, and it's like, I like so many calls going on right now. I'm sure I pissed off a sponsor somehow. I'm very like, I don't know how I do it sometimes. It's like these events. I don't know how I get them sometimes. It's nice. I don't know why people like me at times. Like when my exes told me, Nate, sometimes it's just, you hate yourself so much, it's just impossible to love you at times. But they just do for some reason. It's just insane. Like, oh man. Yeah, I've had a lot of people help me. It's been a interesting, like, just turn of events. I'm just gonna go in there and do what I can do and fight. Win, lose, or draw. I'm going all out. Shit.
You're going the distance. You're going the speed. All alone in the time of need.
Don't get me wrong. I swear, when I was going around that track, that song kept playing in my head, and it was like, it was a great moment when I did that. I had a lot of people like I'd come out of the woodwork. I ended up getting the dream woman I had for the longest. I had the dream car. I ended up being able to buy my dream car. Shoot, I'm actually looking into within the next year buying a home. It's like, it was kind of crazy, all the discipline I got. Like, I'm turning my life around. Like, I feel like Tom Brady when he was playing the freaking Falcons. Like, people like me from what I was told. This is what my sponsor told me. He's all, Nate, people like you because you're a leader. He's like, you were a good ball player, but sure as hell, he told me jokingly, sure as hell wasn't your arm, which was kind of a joke. He made that joke. He saw you were a leader. He was like, when people were up Crap Creek without a paddle, you were just there like Joe Cool. Like you were just under pressure. You wouldn't show it. You were like a duck above the water, like calm on the surface, but under feet were moving a million miles a minute, and you pulled it off. Like people would be panicking, and I'm just like, I got this. But
And
it's what I,
that's why Don McGuire says he needs a Nate Wren autograph for my collection, which
oh, you are so freaking hilarious, Don.
there
That
you go.
autograph right now is worth like, I don't know. I really don't know, Don. I really don't know about that. I'm not much of an autograph guy there.
Hey, make some dreams come true, my goodness, you know. But
Oh God, I have, and I usually get my friends to do that when I give them a call. But it's like I don't think I'm like that guy. I still don't get why people, as I help people and all that. And make sure people are taken care of, but I don't get why people are ever happy to see me. I'm not even happy to see me sometimes when I wake
hey,
up.
I always will be happy to see you, you know. And again, folks, we'll be happy to see you. But thank you guys for joining us here at According to Woods, and obviously the incomparable Nate Wren. And one for the road, thank you, John. But I'm not normal, you know. So just
Oh
saying, not.
yeah, Don McGuire. Yeah, calling that guy normal. That guy is the most entertaining and crazy, one of the craziest figures in combat sports. Calling him normal, that's like asking for Shannon Rich to just hit you with an overhand right. Like, don't do it. Don't call
No,
him normal. That's the quickest way to just have someone come out of nowhere and just tell you off. But I'll be posting the poster that I'm on, the fight poster that I'm on comments or something. Let me know when this is up and I'll share it. But yeah,
no, for
I
sure.
also like to give out a shout out to Rikishi and his Knox Pro Gym. They're very good people, and I've seen them help a lot of up and coming wrestlers. And you should go follow their page. They always put shows on every week, you know, in the bubble, like they live stream them. And yeah, sure. They might have to get Adam Woods to come out of the woodwork. Me and you might have to go blindside some unfortunate wrestler with the chat. Show them the media guy. We should call ourselves the media guys.
The media guys. I mean, it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick, right? And last but very not least, where can they find you on social media?
Wren underscore Nate or Nate, and there's like a lot of underscores. The Life I Live, Nate Wren, and that one's got more follows, but my private one's Wren underscore Nate. You'll never know where I'm be at next. That's why they call me everywhere, man. They used to joke about how you could you could go reach down to the bottom of the cereal box looking for the prize, and you'll see Nate with the prize just looking at you like, go away. But yeah, you don't know where I'll be next. I've actually been driving this entire time we've been talking. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? But you there? Okay. You there, Adam? Hello? Oh, well. And his camera is still there.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe